wife have gone out with Max, so I
Oh,
know
cool.
when he comes back, he's got a bath. So
Nice. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Patreon Crew post show. This is gonna be good tonight because we got Ryan Sands on the show, which is so great. So I say let's just start getting into it. I think we have actually need to pull up the live stream. I don't know why I didn't do that yet. I just need to see where the little live chat room is. Kim, have you started pulling some questions? Great, go for it.
I'm in there.
What do we got?
William wants to know, question for Ryan. I hear you got Jim to sign your singlet. Is that true?
Yeah, actually, like she's pretty destroyed and feeling terrible after the race. So I actually went to the medical tent just to lie down. Like I was just, as I say, not feeling great, and I was lying down on the kind of stretcher thing, and looked next to me, and Jim was lying there as well. So spoke a little bit to him, and I thought it'd be cool to get him to sign my spare race singlet. So yeah. No, it was cool, and as I say, it was good to chat to him, and I've got a lot of respect for him, and just for like, as I say, still trying to run out and go so fast in those really tough conditions.
Yeah, we had him on the show last week, and hearing him, I mean, I was there filming last year because I filmed a couple of documentaries, and seeing him come through Forest Hill was still one of those memories that you have to go, it's ridiculous. I think he was 25 minutes ahead of course record at that time, and he came through running like it was a 10K. I mean, it was something like I'd never seen. And so to hear him talk the same way about this year, you go, yeah, he's going to do it. Based off of his performance last year, plus what stuff, it's like there's no doubt. So it was really interesting to see him talk about it last week and then how it played out and stuff like that. But that's all, I talked to him a bit about, what about being patient? What about going for the win, but knowing that the conditions of the day can determine a lot of things? And he didn't want anything to do with that.
Right.
Yeah. He had quite big balls just to go, screw it. I'm going for sub 14. Let's do it.
Question from Katie. Ryan, where are we here? Ryan, what's your running community like in South Africa? Do you have other people that you run with?
I'm curious about this too.
Yeah, I think like the trail running and the running community in South Africa has really like exploded since I started running like 9 or 10 years ago. And I know there were like 2 or 3 major trail races back when I first started running, and now there's like trail races every weekend. The like kind of ultra trail scene is definitely like growing a lot more, where generally the running community there's a lot more like kind of 15 to kind of 25 or 30K races, and now suddenly there are a lot more races popping up, like 100K races, and guys are getting like really amped on that. I think it's just kind of baby steps. Like guys will do like a 15K and then like a 35K and then a 50 miler and build up. And also the running community in South Africa is very cool, and as I said, it's definitely like a sport that's really growing, which is cool to see.
I mean, you also have some incredible country to run through. I mean, I know Lion's Head, Tabletop, those sorts of things, but plus Drakensberg. But do you have a favorite location that you like to go train?
Yeah, I'm probably biased, but like as you mentioned, like Lion's Head / Table Mountain, is pretty epic. Like it's not like the top of Table Mountain is just over 1,000 meters, so it's not a massive mountain. But for me, just growing up in Cape Town, and I just love the fact that you can kind of be running on top of the mountain and then kind of bomb down it and go for a swim in the ocean afterwards, which is pretty cool. Just like for me, being able to see the ocean, like I grew up surfing, I feel a lot more comfortable. And I just think Table Mountain, the varieties of kinds of trails you've got in there, and also the weather conditions are pretty good, makes it really spectacular.
Nice. I guess with elevation, so states you deal with elevation. You've done other races that have elevation. How do you train for that? If Table Mountain is 3,000 meters.
Yeah.
Or 3,000 feet.
Generally, I definitely, if I wanted like either heading out to the Drakensberg and I can go to training out there and I can like tag a couple of 3,000 meter peaks, or just trying to get out to a race a little bit early beforehand. And I always enjoy doing that. I think it's a good excuse to be able to travel, and experience kind of like new cultures and new places. I think for me, like I wrote a book at was it a year ago or so, and I think after writing the book, it made me realize that you're obviously super stoked to have won certain races or podium or done well, but you actually, or even the times that you don't really kind of, or that's not what stuck in my mind. It was actually the people I'd met, the experiences I've had. So I think for me, it's really cool to be able to travel and kind of gain those experiences.
Awesome. Go for it, Kim.
Yeah, question from Scout. Ryan, given the diversity of your past race schedule, what do you look for in a race these days? Is it the terrain, the location, the people? What draws you to a race?
Yeah, I think a combination of everything, and I suppose also just like the race itself, like a race like Western States is such a prestigious race, or even a Grand Raid of Reunion. I think definitely those iconic races appeal to me. Yeah, I think that's a major draw card. Also, as you said, like the people, like also make a big difference, and also the terrain. Again, I was actually chatting to Dean Leslie before the race, and I said like Western States maybe it's not as exotic as a race in the Alps or in other places, but I said, to be honest, when you're racing really hard, like you're not really stopping to look at the scenery anyway, so it doesn't make a huge difference. So yeah, I guess that doesn't make a huge difference. But definitely for me, I think it's about those iconic races that kind of that really kind of draw me.
Nice. There's a good question here from Darren Burst. What's up, Darren? Go ahead. Yeah, I was letting you read it.
Thanks. Question from Darren. Ryan, I'm curious to see if there are any different trail etiquette that you've noticed from running in South Africa or anywhere else besides the US. Yeah. Got any pet peeves?
No, I think it's like all pretty standard. I know there've been like a few things in the past, I suppose, with like cutting switchbacks and stuff, I suppose, like with Europeans to Americans. Nothing. I get sometimes in Europe, like I started using poles a little bit, like the trekking poles, the hiking poles, but some of the race I get a little bit like annoyed at the guys just like flicking them behind them, and like you're half getting your eyes taken out, and especially at the start of the race. So that is a little bit frustrating. But in general, no, I think kind of the trail etiquette is pretty similar all over the world. I think that's what makes trail running so cool. Like you can meet all these different cultures or different like people and different ages, or kind of elites and kind of non-elites. But I think everyone's got it like a kind of a common goal, and kind of they all kind of strive for that same passion.
There's an interesting question that I'm going to kind of ride on the back of rather than dovetail, because our live viewers make fun of me because I say the word dovetail a lot. I like it. I think it's a good word.
I think they've turned it into a drinking game.
It's a drinking game with our live viewers. So I'm going to say jump onto the back of this question, which isn't any better. But Randy asks, after this win, have you been bombarded with interview and appearance requests in the U.S. and back home? And I'm curious how the requests may be compared to other things that you've done, because you've done some incredible things. So I'm curious, because it's Western States, do more people know about it? Like, has your local news contacted you, been like, we need to get you on? I mean, that sort of stuff. Is this more than any other event, or is it more because you won?
Yeah, definitely. There's been like quite a bit of interest in the States and in other countries, and then especially back home. Yeah, I think with local news and all the newspapers and stuff. I think they followed it, and I think a lot of the press have kind of, they know my story as well, just kind of how much Western States meant to me. So I think back home the response has been really cool, and I suppose even some people thought obviously like I had a bit of a shocker in 2015 with the mononucleus or glandular fever, and dropped out of a number of races, and yeah, I think a lot of people, and then going into last year I had some good results, but I felt they were just like really consistent. There was no like big breakout win or anything big. So I think to be honest, I think a lot of some of the media and people back home maybe thought that kind of I'd passed my best, or kind of yeah, it had been kind of at it for maybe a bit too long. So I think the response to that has been pretty cool. That kind of like I have managed to bounce back and finally get the elusive cougar. So yeah, I think the response has been very cool, both at home and then in the States and in other countries.
That's awesome, man. Go for it, Kim.
And you wanted to also talk about the post-race drug testing.
Oh yeah, I wanted to jump onto the back of that question regarding the drug testing. So this is the first year that you probably encountered it at States. It's the first year they implemented it, but was it an easy procedure? Did they do everyone that was expected to be in a lead, or how did that work for you guys? And I know your family just came home too, so we need to.
Yeah. Oh no, that's cool. You might. I'll be another 2 minutes. Cool. Sorry.
No problem.
I knew they were gonna test some of the top guys. I have been drug tested before at other races, so it wasn't like anything too new for me. And yeah, I think the procedure was pretty much the same as what they do for other races. They did a pee test, not a blood test after the race. For me, the hardest thing is always being able to pee. Like I did Grand Rate of Reunion last year and finished at like 11 or 12 at night after running for like 25 hours, completely shattered. And then I couldn't pee for like 3 or 4 hours, and you just had to stay there. And I was like kind of half passing out. So I was a bit worried about that happening at Western States, but luckily it didn't take too long. But yeah, obviously it's quite like a structured process, and they kind of really kind of watch you eat and drink before you get tested. And then yeah, obviously when you I did actually notice in the States that the guy watching me pee definitely watched me a lot more closely than what the guy did in Reunion the last time I was drug tested after a race. But I think it's cool. Obviously it's important that they do it. I think it's really important for the sport. I think 4 or 5 years ago, if you had told me people or asked me if people were doping in trail running, I would have said no ways. And I think now you'd be pretty naive to say no. So I said, it's sad, but I think it's definitely necessary, and it just shows that the sport is getting more and more professional.
Yeah. Did you have to get tested before too?
ITRA, International Trail Running Association, were doing some testing, but they had a bit of an issue with the whole procedure, so that it actually didn't end up happening. They've got a different method. They actually send you an email and say you've got 96 hours to get tested, and they kind of give you what you need to test, etc. But just that the kind of system hadn't been set up properly in the US yet.
Interesting. Let's get to like 1 or 2 more questions, and we'll let Ryan just.
I was going to let Ryan go.
Maybe let's do one more. That's it.
Sure. Lisa asks, what advice or words of wisdom do you have as the winner of Western States for someone who has never run an ultra?
I think that's a good last question.
Yeah, I think it's all about like baby steps. For me, it's just like kind of often just like kind of or breaking something down into bite-sized chunks. Like a lot of people say, geez, I run 10 Ks around the block. I don't know how you run 160 Ks. But when I go into Western States running 100 miles, I never think that I'm going to be running 160 Ks or 100 miles. It's more like kind of breaking it down into lots of little bite-sized chunks. So I say it's all relative. Like if you can run 10 Ks, you can run 100 miles. It's just about kind of doing it 16 times. And I think your mind's incredibly powerful if you can kind of use it properly. And I almost try and trick myself by just breaking it down into those lots of little bite-sized chunks. I think that's important, but also I think it's important not to get too fixated on like ultras. I find like everyone just kind of wants to jump into 100 miler like after doing a 30K race, where like, or especially a lot of young guys like really want to kind of step up into 100 miler when they're really young. And a lot of guys that I run with back home, some younger guys in South Africa, and I really try and advise them, just like if you're doing really well at marathons now, keep running those for a little bit longer. There's no rush to go into 100 miles. You've got kind of the rest of your life. And also I think just like jumping into a big ultra like that, you got to like up your training and stuff so much more. It's just not as sustainable, especially for guys that are non-elite and they don't have as much time to train. I think everyone loves what they do and they want to do it for as long as possible. So there's no point kind of running everything in like 2 years and then being completely blown out after that.
That's great advice. I think it's great advice for everyone watching. Fantastic. Ryan, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for taking the time out. I know you've been super tired and traveling, so travel safe back to South Africa. Hopefully we'll see you there someday. And love to the family and everyone.
Just come to Ultra Trail Cape Town.
Yeah.
We've been in talks with them, so hopefully soon. Yeah. All right, man.
Cool.
Take care. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Just click the little hang up guy and you're good to go.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Cool. Cheers. Bye.
That was great.
I have a great question from Wing in the chat room. It was for Ryan, but I'm going to ask it to you. Ethan, what part of their anatomy do doves use to regulate their altitude?
The wings.
Wrong.
I don't. Is it the tail that does the altitude? Because I thought flapping their wings would determine that. But I guess the tail would determine that if they're coasting, gliding. I don't know. Maybe wings. Bird specialist. What do they call them? I almost said ophthalmologist. That is not what that is, but it's close. Ornithologist?
I don't know. Somebody in the chat room probably knows.
Someone in the chat room did.
He says, I am not an ornithologist.
Ornithologist. Interesting. Someone said make a dovetail t-shirt, and a part of me is like, I should make a dovetail t-shirt. That'd be really funny. It'd be like just for people in the know.
Dove butt?
Dove butt? No, but then I was like, because I've been dying to come up with the name of an umbrella brand for all the merch that we want to do, including growlers, t-shirts, hats, that kind of thing, outside of the Ginger Runner brand. But I'm like, maybe we do something. Maybe it's called Dovetail, but it doesn't have much of a relation to running whatsoever. I know that we have a couple of new people this week that maybe jumped into the Patreon side of things. So thank you guys for joining us. Basically, what happens is every week we do the main show, and then we come here and do the post show. And then throughout the week, there might be a couple of posts that we do some other fun things, some perks and stuff like that. Because we've been moving for the last 2 weeks, in my mind, I'm like, this set will be done. We talked about this last week. And I was like, it'll be totally done. I don't know where this week went. Every day we've been out of the house, whether we have no furniture. So we've been trying to find furniture and trying to get the house set up and trying to unpack boxes, which is still undone in some cases. It's insane. I don't remember the last time that I moved and had it be
drag on for this long.
But if you think back to our place in Los Angeles when we moved into there together, I had even less stuff. You had nothing. So we really did the exact same thing, and it took months. We didn't even get a coffee table until 3 months before we left Los Angeles. So yeah, I apologize that the set isn't made, but this is great. Since you are Patreon supporters, now is our chance to kind of talk to you guys about this set. So you have seen how I have this set up. If you go to some of my product reviews, you'll see that the background is set a certain way. And during our live shows, we would just sit in front of it. We have the option now to possibly do a different location for the live shows. But I'm debating, should I do something different for this set? Should we just do the framed picture sort of thing again? Or should I change it up and try to do something new with the new space? It would just take some additional effort and creativity.
I still like the backdrop,
I
kind of like it. I like it clean, but it's a little bit empty, I think.
I think it's empty. And especially for reviews, I like having stuff back there for people to look at. But I've been thinking about leaving this wood and then doing a shelf system on it. Basically just wood shelves all the way up, and then being able to put books, pictures, medals, framed things up on the shelves, which allows me to probably cram more things in there as opposed to just like occasional pictures and bibs and stuff like that.
Randy says you look like you're close to the wall because we're literally leaning.
We're literally leaning against it
because this wall is leaning against. And there was an uproar in the chat room when I got up to go get your charger, and people are like, "Kim got demoted."
Yeah.
We're both sitting on camping chairs.
We're both sitting in camping chairs, guys. We both got demoted to camping chairs because we got rid of the chairs we were sitting on in Los Angeles because they weren't great. They were stools from IKEA, and they were not great. So we have not set up the Ginger Runner Live set space. It's a corner in that side of the room, I think is what we're going to do. But we haven't decided how we're going to set it up, or if we get another set of chairs, or what we want to do. This week is that is what's going to happen this week.
Yeah.
And I know I said last week, I think it was going to be Thursday, I was going to do a live stream of the new office setup and like the desk in the studio and that sort of thing. Half the stuff that I had ordered to build out my desk studio, because we had no desk from Los Angeles because we gave that away, didn't even arrive until later in the week, so I couldn't even put it together.
And you had to return stuff and
huge ordeal. No excuses. But this week will be fun because we'll finally get to kind of show how the studio is being built out.
Darren Burris in the chat room has a great suggestion. He goes, yeah, you should do something different. It's called Can Gus Get His Own Spinoff?
For the new viewers, we have a dog named Gus. He's currently sleeping, but we left his collar on during the show, so you probably heard him shake his collar during the episode. But he's an adorable dog, and he should get his own channel. I've been telling Kim he needed to start his own channel and just do videos every day. It would be the easiest thing.
I need a GoPro.
We'll get you a GoPro if that's what you need.
Lots of suggestions saying make it more Pacific Northwest centric.
I like that.
So yeah, I like that idea as well.
I wonder how we can do that. I like that. I like that mentality, guys. Now we're talking.
Yeah, Raul also said put something more related to the area you live now, and limit the bibs to the past few years. Let's just put baby bibs up there.
Baby bibs? Now people are going to think you're pregnant again.
People are going to think you're pregnant.
Probably am. I do have a belly. I have a box. I didn't realize how many bibs and medals that I have from races until I moved and I started unloading some of the boxes. I'm like, what is this? This is bibs. Oh, maybe it's just a couple bibs. No, it's like 50 bibs. Just stack of bibs and then medals. But I guess
we need those, huh?
Well, I didn't know if we were going to build a bib wall or a set. Pregnant. Don't start that.
I didn't.
Now I just feel fat. Darren, yeah, food baby. That's what it is. It's a food baby. I like the idea of making it Pacific Northwest centric. There's a lot of wonderful Pacific Northwest art and things like that we can feature. Just a matter of how to set it up. Now what?
Josh in the chat room says, give the set a real Seattle feel. It obviously needs a utility kilt and a fedora, and we just walked by the utility kilt.
I'm blown away that utility kilts are still around. So when I lived here 10 years ago, I'm never going to call them a thing because they were never a thing, but they were certainly a Seattle staple. These are kilts that are worn. They're utility kilts, are more like rugged, durable kilts that local gents have worn. I do own one because I did a charity comedy show for them, and part of it was having to wear a utility kilt. So I believe I have one somewhere. Maybe I'll hang it on the wall. People will go, "Oh, he's from Seattle." I doubt it. Cascade 100 course map. Yeah, that was actually on the last set, but it was very small. You couldn't really see it.
And Rollo says, "Yeah, local artists." I actually got you.
You did. I still have it.
Print from a local artist.
Yeah, waiting to frame it.
Great idea.
Lots of ideas, lots of things that we can do with this wall. I guess the question is making it more three-dimensional with shelves, or keeping it kind of flat with the pictures. If we do flat with the pictures, then I can swap in trail maps and local mountain maps and stuff like that. If we do more three-dimensional, then we can start being. We can bring like books and other sorts of local items.
We can just like put this here, and it just makes it look like we're in bushes all the time.
So it needs to be ferns. Oh, good. Now the show's great. Now people give it thumbs up. We'll wrap this up because my sister is having her baby right now. She is having her baby. We're getting texts during the live show, and I was
trying to be like, is it happening?
Is it happening now? My sister that lives in Los Angeles, so we unfortunately missed by a couple of weeks the birth of my new niece. I am an uncle many times over at this point, and you were going to be an aunt also many times over. So it's nothing new, but it's fantastic because this is her second daughter, and her first daughter is so cute. I can't wait to meet and see my new niece, which is probably going to happen in the next couple hours.
Is legit happening right now.
So we're going to bounce. I hope that's cool. I know you guys understand. But this week will be really fun. This is the last week of June. We're gonna get ready for July. New videos. The last video of the Moving from Los Angeles series will go up this week, as well as my half marathon video, which I'm excited to share. I think it'll be kind of a fun spoof. I'm going to try not to be so negative in it. Yeah, but more funny, I hope. It comes across that way. And then, finally, once the set gets built, we can get back to the review schedule. There's so many product reviews. I'm thinking about just like bombarding you guys with reviews.
And my set is going
on the other side,
the back of this one.
Yeah.
I
can't wait.
Put like a face cutout, and I'll just like look through while you're doing reviews, or just like pick Gus up and just put his head through.
We could put like a Mona Lisa and just cut the eyeballs out, and just during the reviews, the little eyes kind of do this little thing. Or put Gus's face through. That'd be really funny. Thank you guys for the continued support. Obviously, every week we are indebted to you guys and very, very thankful for helping keeping the channel alive. I'm kind of glad that we weren't at States filming, because there's like going to be many, many films that come out from States, and it's nice to take a step back from the event and do more of a spectating sort of thing.
I also
really
think there's
fun.
only so many films you can do about the same race so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always many, many stories to tell, but I think States is kind of a saturated. It's a little saturated.
Well, saturated.
I think like having people like Ryan on and Kat to come talk about their experiences.
I agree. That's great.
That hits it.
Ryan was like a goal guest, dream guest. And the fact that he happened to be in California, because he leaves for South Africa on Wednesday. So that puts him unavailable Wednesday, he just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Luckily, actually, this is a lot of thanks go to you guys and to viewers and supporters of the show, because there was a huge tweet fest going on during the race of like, you got to get Ryan Sands. So people were tagging Ryan Sands and me saying, you got to get him on GingerRun Live. And what ended up happening was, I think either his manager or someone who was in charge of his Twitter account was like, contact me at this email and we'll make it happen. I was like, oh my God, I might actually be able to contact him. Emailed her, she CC'd Ryan, and we eventually got in touch and just made it happen. This was originally going to happen next Monday. So Ryan's like, I don't think I can do Monday because we're basically in traffic to San Francisco. He was in his Airbnb during the show. So the original plan was to do it next Monday. And I was like, oh, he's going to have to get up at like 3. We can push the show. That's no problem. But he'll have to wake up at like 4 or 5 to do a show. I'm so glad it worked out.
People are asking about Kat. We did try and get her on the show for tonight, but I think she was also traveling today and she had no voice.
It was a bummer. I really wanted both of them on the show. I'm glad that we're able to kind of separate them if we do get Kat on the show.
Yeah, so we are still trying to get her on the show.
We're still trying to get her on.
A different date.
I sense that maybe she was a little out of her mind, probably still recovering, because everything was very nondescript and like, well, what about next Monday? Yeah, my voice is gone. Like, okay, can I confirm you, or we'll figure it out this week. Let her get some sleep, food, whatever she needs. But the goal will be to get her on, because I obviously want to feature both winners. I don't want it to be male favored or anything like that. So big shout out to Kat. Show her some love.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
I don't want to end like that.
You did it. You did this to yourself.
We'll make this all Pacific Northwestern.
None of that tied into it.
I'm so tired. I ran in the Seattle heat yesterday. That sucked. The whole time I'm thinking, I can't imagine people running Western States in this sort of heat. It was about the same temperatures, really muggy up here, but I got a 1/10 of the mileage really, and I was just dead when I finished. Can't imagine. Western States is going to be a monster if I ever get a chance to run it. Monster. Cool, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday, if not sooner. But have a great rest of your evening or morning or wherever you are across the globe.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.